Good morning, everyone. It's Jacqueline. I am literally sitting here drinking my coffee right out of bed. I'm going to get ready for work in a bit. But I was on social media and someone had posted a quote that I found interesting. And while I was sitting here and I have a little bit extra time, I thought, you know what, you might as well just make a video on the subject. And so, a lot of my ideas and concepts actually come from other people. It's someone that I communicate with, or I see that they feel similar, and so I will look into the subject, and then it'll suddenly spark an idea in my head, and that's kind of where I go. So, this quote, I don't even know what it is because I just remember vaguely what it was, but it was about how people have no issue addressing a drag queen as she, but when it comes to a trans person, they will pull out, any kind of nonsense they can from the internet to, basically say that trans women aren't the gender they identify as. And so the thing which is so true, and the reason why people in general have less issues with calling drag queens she than trans people is because they understand. Well, drag queens are a costume, and so that's the reason why they are okay with it. Is because there's no one. They don't have to look internally and say this is a woman, and so they say, oh, that's just a drag queen. So yeah. And I think that actually comes from RuPaul's Drag Race. I think that comes from the commercialized world of doing drag and as costumes. And yes, the opposing argument is that yes, there's trans women that do drag. True. But for me personally, as a trans woman, I am incredibly uncomfortable at drag shows. And I used to do drag, and I did drag from the age of, 17 to probably like 21. And I wasn't bad at it. I was actually pretty good. And there are moments that I have where I'll hear like certainly, I used to love the 80s songs like I Need a Hero and, stuff like that. And so I loved all the 80s, yeah, Annie Lennox. But I personally never fit in with drag queens. I don't like them. I don't like them as people. They kind of bother me. I always liked the ones that were, um, not as stereotypical. They were more like creatures or performance art. That's what I really liked when it came to drag queens. But in today's age, I think a lot of drag queens are actually trans, but they have an internal self hatred that they can't deal with. Usually it comes from family, it's like growing up in smaller households, religious backgrounds. And so they kind of transition, but they don't. And I think even for like a lot of people in the African American community, there's a lot of deep religious background, and it's like you can look like a woman, you can live like a woman, but better not think that you're a woman. And so, I when I go to drag shows, I get incredibly uncomfortable because a lot of for example, where I live, a lot of the drag queens know who I am, and I go out maybe every 5 years. I'll go to a drag bar or something, and it's more just like curiosity to see how things have changed, how they've updated, if they have updated, if they haven't, and the majority of the time they haven't. And so like the last time I went out was about a month ago, and I was at a drag show, and I just felt incredibly uncomfortable. But drag queens also, even the trans drag queens, because there was a performer that had come in town that was trans that was performing at this bar. And what they do is when they see someone that they hear is trans that's in the crowd, or you can tell that they're basically trying to dissect you. So whenever a drag queen would come up to our table and be performing, they know who I am. And so they're looking at me, and in their head, they're breaking down, does she have 5 o'clock shadow? Does she have, boobs? Does she have breasts? Does she, is she wearing a wig? Is that a wig? So they're dissecting how someone does what they do. And it never fails. Whenever a drag queen gets close to me, and once they get to a certain point, they stop and then they leave me alone. They don't come any closer. So most of the time, like when a drag queen sees like, a regular girl at a bar or a cis woman at the bar or someone at the bar, they'll get close and mess with them, and they'll, give them shit. But whenever, or just, you know, being sassy with them. And whenever they see me and they know that I'm trans and stuff, they'll get close, but then they'll be like, then they'll back off. And they're looking at me and they're trying to figure out how I did it, like what I did. And I think the key to my transition is less is a lot more. Um, so, I don't wear makeup very often. When I go out, I do, but you can clearly tell that that's not the reason I look like a woman is not because of my makeup and not because of my hair. It's because I live that way. And I've transitioned the finer details out. So it's like the ones that, I can live day to day, go to the grocery store and all that stuff. I've eliminated the things that society sees as masculine. The only thing I haven't is my voice. And speaking on that, I actually had a new client that is a surgeon that came in yesterday. He's actually from Turkey, and he's Muslim from Turkey, and he's actually my last client I'm accepting. I'm no longer accepting new clients in the hair salon I work at, but this was a friend of some close clients of mine. So anyway, he came in and we were talking about his family not accepting him being a gay man, and he's Muslim, and he's lives from Turkey, and that's not that they persecute people there, but they just don't talk about gay people and stuff. So we were discussing it, and and I was bringing up that I was trans, and that I've gone through similar things where family doesn't accept. And the biggest key is that the only person that matters is you. And so if your family, even if it's your children or your mother or your father don't accept you, then you've just got to kind of give them the middle finger and like tell them to fuck off. I mean, that's really, you have to. You don't have an option. Bending for other people in any way will cause you only more suffering. And in this world, no one really cares about other people. They just want other people to bend to their will. And I think that's one of the successes to my authentic confidence. And authenticity is key in transitioning or being gay, and I think that's the one thing that the LGBTQ community has in common is the authenticity. Or at least they should have the authenticity. And I think that's why drag queens have issues with authentic trans women, like trans women who live their lives as women. I think not all drag queens, but I would say like a large percentage have issues because they want to, they too also like to think that it's a costume, that it can be something that you can put on and take off because that's what drag is. So, what was I going to say? So anyway, this guy that came in yesterday, we were discussing all of this, and I told him, I was like, I'm trans. And he was like, he looked at me and he goes, I'm a surgeon. And he was like, and I deal with trans people all the time, and he's worked in places with trans people. And he said the only reason he knew, and I knew it, and all of y'all on here are very sweet by saying that it's not my voice, and I have a nice voice. But he was like, it's only your voice. And I was like, I knew it. And, and then I looked at him and I was like, and by the way, it's not offensive because I actually asked him. And he said it was my voice. And he was like, you're not offended by that? I was like, no, no, no. I was like, I'm completely secure with myself. And I also don't expect validation from anyone else but myself. So, and sure, you can get hurt and people can say things. But at the end of the day, they're going to do that anyway. So the important thing is to accept yourself. And that's all that matters. And society is going to be a bunch of assholes. Another subject that I thought was really interesting was I had a trans person in my chair the other day, and they were talking about Tennessee, which is the state I live in. And so the new law in Tennessee with trans people is with bathrooms. And everybody's so upset, and they want to get out of Tennessee and they want to go somewhere where people are open minded. And I told them, I was like, look, to be honest, I mean, I transitioned to Los Angeles and I got fired from a job. I lost friends. I mean, there is no place on this earth. There are places that are better as far as law goes. Excuse my torn up shirt. It's actually my ex-boyfriend's shirt. That's really comfortable to sleep in. Anyway, and so I told him that there is no other place that's going to make you. The grass isn't necessarily greener. It's maybe a little bit greener, but it's not like lush and beautiful and perfect. It just doesn't exist because I've lived in multiple places and it's just not that way. So the new law in Tennessee is if you have a bathroom in a business, you have to have a sign that says, like posted, that says trans people use this bathroom. Or, transgender people are allowed to use this bathroom. And that stops other customers from suing the business because they are offended that there's a trans person in the bathroom with them. So they were like, and then they're looking at my client's looking at me, this transgender individual. They're looking at me and they're trying to like figure. And I was like, that's not a bad thing. And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, we've kind of wanted that for a long time. We've kind of wanted businesses to put up on their bathrooms and stuff that we are welcome in their bathrooms. I mean, it's kind of okay. So I told them, I was like, look, there is a silver lining on this. And I was like, rednecks are dumb. They're stupid people. Republicans are fucking stupid. Like they think that with bills like this one in particular that they're being smart, but actually it's backfiring. And the reason why is because as trans people, we can go in the bathroom in Tennessee. You can feel free to go in any bathroom you want to go into. They're not going to do anything about that. The problem is the business itself can get sued for not posting a sign that says trans people are welcome in the bathroom. And I was like, is that necessarily a bad thing? Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's so like at my business where we work, we have a whichever sign. So it's like, it doesn't matter who you are, you can go in that bathroom. And that's exactly what it is. So, but rednecks and conservative people and Republicans think it's a win because they think, well, we're going to have men in the bathroom now with little girls, and then people are going to get upset and they're going to sue the business. And I was like, not necessarily. Like, that's probably not going to happen. And if it does start to happen, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to have signs that say trans people are welcome in this bathroom, which isn't a bad thing. So, in my opinion, it kind of neutralized it. And it's just because they're stupid. And when they made the bill, they thought they were being smart and they thought they were being like, oh, we got them now. But really, they didn't do anything. So it is important to always remember that people are dumb. People are not smart. They're not intelligent. They're not going to be very insightful. And so it's important to, really and not to take things too seriously in this world because this world is a joke. And, in 50 years, the human race is pretty much going to be like dwindling to nothing with climate change. And so it's important just to kind of live your life and do what you need to do and not really give a fuck about anybody else. The only person you should care about is yourself. Anyway, so my date went really well the other night as well. I know people were asking. He's incredibly attractive, very cute. And it is fascinating with the new generation of people, like the youth, the way they act and the way they dress and the way they don't overthink everything. And anyway, it's pretty interesting. But this guy he's real cute. He's real cute. It's not that it's going to be anything serious. It's just fun and it's just whatever. But we're going to go see a movie tomorrow night, so we have another date. And yeah. Anyway, so that's my little update. Excuse me for like rolling right out of bed in my ripped up shirt, pajamas, and no makeup. But I just had those thoughts and I felt like I had to do it. So you all have a great day. I'm actually going to start getting ready for work now, and I will make an update in about a week or so. Thanks, y'all. Bye.